Hello everyone and welcome to Best of the Month, where I'm joined by creators to talk about the game we have enjoyed most in the previous month. It doesn't have to be a brand new game, but just new to us. And for me though, it is a brand new game because I really enjoyed Agent Avenue from Nerd Lab Games. This is, for the want of a better term, where two players are just chasing each other around the edge of the board. That's kind of what is the basic game, with an I split you choose mechanism to power it. You are on a turn offering an opponent a choice between a face up card and a face down card. They have to be different though, so they do get a little bit of information unless you physically can't play two cards different. So they're looking at the cards and they're like, oh well, it's a relatively good card face up. If I take that, I'll move this many spaces around the board. But what are they hiding? And you can bluff people, you know, maybe you have the bad card face down or an even better card face down and hope they just take the sort of one that looks good face up. And there's also ways where sometimes a card might be good for you but bad for me, because the first time you take a card, you sort of trigger its top number. Some of these are minus. So let's, for instance, you play a certain card and it gives you a -1 the first time you take it. But maybe the second time you take it, it gives you a +6. So you're rocketing around that track. Well, if you take that card and it's the second one of them, it's going to be a huge movement for you. But if your opponent takes it and they don't have any of them, maybe it's a -1 for them. So even then, this choice of I split you choose can be bluffed and affected by things that you've already done. And I really like that. Not only do I like that, you can flip the board over and there's a black market sort of additional thing. If you ever land on one of the four corners, well, you get to take one of these special abilities, maybe just jumping on or making it your opponent can't land on your home space where you started the game, before you started running around this circle sort of thing. And what you're trying to do, you are just trying to, as quickly as possible, catch your opponent up. And if you do so, you win the game. Or maybe there's an instant win condition where if you've got 3 of this certain type of card, you win. Or another one is you have 3 of these and you lose. But the first time you take it and the second time you take it, it does give you movement around the track. And it's all these things that build together into this, well, relatively small box, but fun 2-player experience. Like I say, if you want to know more details, there's a review on the channel. But otherwise, let's see what other people have picked this month.
Hi, I'm Barb, MeeplePhD, and my favorite play for November 2024 is Wondrous Creatures. This is a Kickstarter that recently arrived at my door, and I wanted to get it to the table as fast as I can. I backed it because it has incredible art and some amazing looking pieces, and I wanted to see if there was a great game there to back up those amazing things in the box. And as it turns out, there is. This is, at its heart, it's kind of a worker placement game where you are placing out your crew on this grid. And as you place them out, they're going to be surrounded by different habitat types, which give you either a resource that's associated with that habitat, or you can take a card from the wilderness of a creature who lives in that habitat. Ultimately, you are trying to play those cards. You need those resources in order to play those cards. And you can spend a turn playing 1 or 2 cards, which of course you always want to play 2 if you possibly can, otherwise it's kind of a wasted turn. But when you play those cards out, they're going to come in different species, and you're going to be trying to collect sets of those to fulfill different achievements. But they're also going to have either an instant ability, which gives you more resources or eggs or other things. They might have ongoing abilities, so that when you do a certain action, you get another thing. They might have a recharge ability, which you'll spend a turn returning all of your workers, and that could be kind of a boring turn. But if you have these recharge cards, you get to use those all, and that can give you some special things like more cards in your hand or more resources for the next round that you're playing. As you can tell, I'm super excited about this game. It is one that you end up doing these combinations on your turn. You'll have a few where you're just placing your worker and getting resources, but then you're going to have a turn where you're playing cards from your hand, and one is going to give you resources that you can then play a second one that then triggers another thing, or you can collect eggs, which triggers things. There's a lot going on in this game, and that's something that really sings for me. It does make it a little bit hard to teach. There's a lot of iconography, a lot of different kinds of cards going on. It's worth it to me because it really comes together in this really fun game. And ultimately, it is just about placing your crew, getting resources, and playing cards. And the rest of the game is all about figuring out how to chain those things together to get the most points, to be getting those achievements, and just, making the most of every single turn that you can. So for all of those reasons, Wondrous Creatures was my favorite play this month. I hope you had a great month gaming. If you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel where I connect astronomy and board games. Otherwise, I will see you next month.
And that about wraps us up today. I hope you've enjoyed and heard about some cool games. Let me know what your favourite game was from the past month. And while you're going downstairs to comment, look in the description box because I'll have links to the other creators' channels in there so you can go and subscribe to them while you're subscribing here. And until next month, have a brilliant month gaming.